to make it simple. The situation is in North Macedonia is terribly similar. The difference is that this government has extremely poor economic and social results in governing in comparison to the authoritarian example we mentioned, despite using all these corrupted media tools. Namely, the economy and social services are in permanent decline. The crises are clear and have repercussions in a declining influence of a governing party, even though opposition parties are growing slowly. At this very moment, we have this strong oppositional public mood, but not equally strong political structure to catch that mood and transform it into a political action for change, at least not strong enough. The NGO sector is in desperation, but that is not my interest now to speak about. Somebody else will do that. Because of the character of political clash, today's right-wing nationalistic government use huge Urban Vučić support in making media outlets depend on them. More than 50% of media network are under the umbrella of this corruption network. 30 portals and 2 television stations at least. It is hard for political messages of this kind, as our conference wants to deliver, to reach targeted groups and the public. It's not easy. Oppositely, it's hard. But the main political collapse, I would say, that the governing party, the PMN, is making comes from the intensive defocus from the gray situation in the state, with the classical nationalistic narrative of this party, which more or less simply sketch it means everybody hates Macedonians and conspires against them, neighbors, the European Union, as President Siljanovska used to say, with identity engineering against us, against our identity. Inside the country, we are full of traitors, rats, that is prime minister vocabulary, liberals, LGBT plus people, feminists, etc. The problem is that this is not just ideological rhetorics, but a serious misunderstanding of political reality, of the facts and priorities of national interests. And that produced this grim atmosphere, what we are living now in the country. As an example, I will refer to the complete misunderstanding of the substance and importance of EU framework for accession for North Macedonia, in which, very positively for our national interest, 2 of our historical issues for near 70 years of permanent tension with neighbor Bulgaria were solved de facto and de jure. Recognition of the existence of 2 different nations, us and Bulgarians. That means including Bulgarians as minority in our constitution. De facto and de jure means that. And secondly, recognition of the Macedonian language as it is, without footnotes and reference to the constitution. Not seeing these 2 main issues from the political elite means that they are not so stupid not to see that, but a serious background or I would say some different agenda behind this agenda of so-called we want to be in European Union, but somebody blockade us. That is a problem. That's a problem. That's irrational resistance. Now the question is how to act to deliver democratic outcome and open the European Union road for North Macedonia. From the bottom-up approach or vice versa, from top to bottom approach, or how to combine these 2. We do not need, according to my opinion, we do not need a new campaign for Europe. In public opinion, despite everything, pro-European opinion still prevails. Nor we will wait for a broader protest from the streets to change the regime. The Macedonian experience is that whatever protests take place, whoever is present on the streets, the real change in a final stage facing this specific kind of authoritarian cases we have comes from the intensive international intervention, this final touch. It is not because the Macedonian public is too lazy or inactive, or because authoritarian forces are too strong, but firstly because of the multicultural structure of Macedonian society, the possibility of easily transforming any political clash into ethnic tension, and consequently the rise of security risk in the region. And we exactly have that in this very moment, concern law for passing the judicial exam on Albanian language. Secondly, because the geostrategic, the problem of that international final touch is because of the geostrategic position of North Macedonia, laying down on two main roads, Corridor 8, Corridor 10. It's a real crossroad. It's not just every Balkan state is a crossroad between Asia and Europe. No, some of the states are real crossroads, the other are symbolic crossroads. Macedonia is a real one. The two real roads are on its soil. In the southern part of Europe, that is historical south links Asia, Europe, and tension in this crossroad also produced immediately nervous reaction from all neighbors. And that is the second reason why international, in the history, especially in the recent history, European American combination of intervention are very present. Now, the so-called international actors are reduced to Europe. America is passive, at least with this administration. And I will scan for you one possible scenario why and when Europe will have interest to focus on us. And this focus on us is very important for us. Without that focus, in the so-called Somalia syndrome, we are in a real problem if they leave us alone. Well, the European Union, probably after the end of war in Ukraine, which could estimate 1 year from now, will make two actions more or less with the 800 billion new war budget. One is fortify the border toward Russia, from Belarus to the Turkey, seeing Russia as a threat. Well, at least first period, seeing Russia as a threat. Maybe the second period, they will have to open the tent vis-a-vis Russia, but that is second period. First period, they will fortify the border. Second issue they will do is to close the possible weak point inside Europe of the possible Russian influence. That means Moldavia, Serbia, Macedonia, and Bosnia. And these four countries, Macedonia is most easy of manipulating, of influencing. In that light, that influence will have to be from top to bottom, not be the campaigning again for Europe. It's okay, it's finished. We know that. And mostly, they have that experience in Persian life, catching corruptive lines of the governmental elite, mostly of the prime minister. They will press on that line. They will not press with the new discussion or with the new persuasion that Europe is good for us. The withdrawal plan could be moved toward the greater coalition or some kind of informal coalition to pass constitutional changing and putting Bulgaria's constitution and open back to the European Union negotiation process. The second etap will have to be putting under the thumb or under the control the foggy money coming from Serbia and Hungary in the media and banking sector. But that is another issue. More or less, that is my presentation, what I find interesting for you for starting this debate. Well, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor. give the floor to.
I would like to give the floor first to Aleksandar.
Well, I would like to add to what Professor Frčkoski just said. He does pinpoint the positions that our society is confronted with, and yes, the propaganda and malign influence and the so-called authoritarian regime that has the majority of the power in Republic of North Macedonia has its effect on the society and on stopping or slowing down the EU integration process. But I cannot agree with him that the propaganda and all the malicious interference about the European Union and the propaganda sector, I mean media, read propaganda sector, is a problem of this particular government. Its root causes are started long before this government came to power. During the 90s, when the Social Democrats were forming the first government, they started the process of demonizing the Bulgarian minority and the Bulgarians as a power that started the VMRO-DPMNE movement in Macedonia, or VMRO-DPMNE as a political party. So that division in the society between patriots and traitors, or Macedonians versus Bulgarians, or statecraft political option versus divisionists, started during the 90s. In those processes, the media also started becoming coalition partners to the political parties, and that transformed in what we have today. We have national televisions, we have national media that are de facto coalition partners of every government that came to power in Macedonia. I would like to add to what Professor Frčkoski said. We have a problem with the propaganda in Macedonia. So it's not a problem of whether we should integrate into the European Union. It's a problem of how we will integrate. So that's the new thesis that is being exploited in Macedonian society about. So it's not whether we should. It's absolved that we need to integrate into the European Union. But now the division is between should we accept the constitutional change, or should we not accept the constitutional change and continue negotiating some better option for Macedonia. And that division is the ones who, the part of the society that supports constitutional changes are labeled as traitors, and the part that wants to negotiate better in hopes of gaining a better position for Macedonia are labeled as patriots. This is also this kind of narrative is, I would say, natural to be used in Macedonia, since we see what kind of narratives are used in Bulgaria. I wouldn't say that Macedonia is very much affected by Moscow's malign influence, or China's or Peking's malign influence. I would say that Moscow's influence is mostly based in Bulgaria. So questions that were never a problem between Macedonians and Bulgarians are being popularized in Bulgaria first, and then we have a reaction to those theses, to those questions that are arising in Bulgaria, and this is where the so-called good neighborly relations start to collapse. So in conclusion, I would say that the root cause of the so-called EU skepticism is not of this particular government or the previous government. It's at least 4 decades long process. So that is something that we should diagnose, and that is something that we should work upon.
Okay, just before I give the floor to Borjan, I have one thing. You say the separation is between people who think that we should renegotiate.
between people that
Yeah. Okay, but the problem is that there is nothing to be
Yes, of course.
renegotiated.
Yes.
You know, that narrative that we are in a position, in front of all the European countries to say, no, what you say that is, what is the choice is between take it or leave it. It's not debatable. It's not something that we're going to discuss with somebody.
Yes, but that's why we are discussing that this is a question of propaganda, not of real reasoning. This is a question of,
Yes.
This is a question of propaganda. This is a question of making illusionary divisions between the society. But the fertile soil in Macedonia is made thanks to the so-called Russian influence in Bulgaria. So let me put it this way. So you have a European framework, accession framework, that constitutes what needs to be done before we start the EU negotiation process. And from the other side, from the Bulgarian side, which is the country that threatens Macedonia with vetoing the accession, we have official statements that say Bulgarian integration the integration of Bulgarians into the Macedonian constitution is not the end of the road. Is not the end of Bulgarian, how should I say, askings. Yes. So this is the last statement from the Bulgarian Minister of Foreign Affairs. This is her last official statement. No, we are during the meeting that they had with the Macedonian Foreign Affairs ministers. So she was clear that there must be historical commission. We must continue the debate on Macedonian and Bulgarian history, and that Bulgarians should gain more than just being constitutionalized in Macedonia. So exiting from the EU framework is not a question of what Macedonia wants, but it is a question of what Bulgaria demands. It's not just the constitution. And those are official statements.
Yeah. Sorry, Borjan.
We're not part of the debate, but just one quick remark. Yes, but that is also part of the framework. This request, it is Article 4. Добросъседски odnosi. Article 4 demands that we continue implementing PRESPA agreement. We continue implementing the agreement on good neighborly relations with Bulgaria. With PRESPA, we have much more concrete expectations than with Bulgaria. With Bulgaria, what EU demands is that we meet and talk. There is no specific outcome that they expect except the first two protocols that Dimitrov already agreed on. So, and it's already deep past. So I don't know. I think that we are being, as usual, paranoid about history. But
No, we are not being paranoid about history. We are being paranoid about, we are being, and we should be cautious of the Bulgarian political askings. I mean, it is true that the agreement of good neighborly relations between Macedonia and Bulgaria is a part of the framework. But respecting the agreement is a part of the framework.
Yeah.
Yes, not in specific having a historical commission. But Bulgaria is posing the historical commission as a how should I say this? How should I put it? As a defining factor of if they should leave the veto or not.
No, that's not. Just leave that for discussion.
Yeah. Okay. Borjan, sorry.
So it's my turn.
Yeah.
Well, I will try not to talk about the politics and who do what, but I would like to concentrate on the role of the media in all this process. And my opinion is that the media do not have a professional coverage on what's going on between Bulgaria, Macedonia, and European Union in this triangle. We are, for example, intoxicated by the misinformation about what's going on. Now, whether it is a result of the propaganda or not, I'm not sure. My colleague Aleksandar has a right when he said this, kind of a narrative which is pejorative toward Bulgarians. I agree that it was built throughout the history, even in the 80s of the last century. It was a kind of a UDBA or Belgrade structure imposed narrative in Macedonia towards Bulgarians. Now, for example, I mean, my opinion is that the responsibility is a huge responsibility of media is to put the facts, on the table and to allow public opinion to discuss the issue in a let's say constructive and creative way. I absolutely, as a citizen, I absolutely agree, and I do feel the very same frustration, having in mind the attitude of Sofia towards our European integration. But I mean, let's face it, that's it. I mean, we also gave some we nourished in a way this politics in Sofia with our narratives, which are, I mean, I must say that so-called Bulgarophobia is still present here in Macedonia, which is not okay. For example, let me very recent example I mentioned in the last edition of our podcast. There was a very nice comment of the very Professor Ogdan Minchev, very influential, prominent person in Bulgaria, criticizing the Bulgarian government and the Bulgarian attitudes toward Macedonia. But Ogdan Minchev was not quoted from nobody in Macedonia. But if there is a Karakachanov or some other, marginalized politician in Sofia who is saying Macedonians do not exist, there is no Macedonian language, there is no Macedonians.
Inflammatory politicians.
Well, it will be the history. It will be the very first headline in our media these days. So that's very, I mean, in a way, strange. But I would not say it's a propaganda that somebody from party called and said, you will publish Karakachanov, but you are not going to publish Ogdan Minchev, which gives a completely different picture of what is the attitude of the Bulgarian society towards us. It's a kind of inertia, to drive into kind of a negative, expressing frustrations towards Bulgaria. Or, for example, I see the statement of the Minister of Foreign Affairs saying, Macedonia's language could not be part of any political discussion. So, first of all, there is no question and there is no doubt that the Macedonian language is recognized and it's not part of any political debate or negotiation. Macedonian language is a fact that exists in the whole international linguistic atlas since I don't know 50s of the last century. So there is no problem with Macedonian language, but still, when you look, when you watch the news on some of the mainstream TV station, the anchor will always ask, what about why Bulgarians do not recognize Macedonian language? Macedonian language was recognized. The European Union Ursula von der Leyen said we are expecting to have a 27th official language, meaning your language in EU as an official one. There is a agreement, Frontex so-called agreement, which was signed on Macedonian and all official EU languages. The decision was signed by the interior minister of Bulgaria, which means that they recognize. At home in Sofia, maybe they could say there is no Macedonian language, but de facto and de jure, they are recognizing the Macedonian language as everybody else in European Union. That's one. Second, for example, those famous protocol, and then everybody talking about some hidden places within the protocol and this European negotiating framework, that it's kind of a hidden trap that will put us in a situation to be blocked within a process of negotiation. First of all, I don't know how many times it's written. It's not something which is secret. It's very explicit, written within those famous protocol that European Union and the European framework, negotiating framework, European Union is encouraging the Joint Commission, Historical Commission, to talk about the topics that divide us. They divide Bulgaria and Macedonia, but the European Union encouraged the Commission to produce and to conclude the work before the end of the negotiation. But there is no mentioning of that we must deliver the solution of those issues before the end of the negotiating process and entering in EU. So it means that, of course, like others join historical commission like Poland and Germany and some others, they still discuss. They started the discussion in 70s and they still, discussing some of the controversial issue they have in their relation between the Poland and Germany. So it's not that I'm just wonder why we are not, putting the fact visible to the public opinion, and then to discuss. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there will be some other ideas what to do, but those ideas should be well argumented, to present some plan that could be alternative on what we have as a European framework. By the way, there are also some points in the agreement that we signed with Bulgaria. For example, to opening the archive. why not to opening the archive? What's our problem to open the archives to see whether it is true or not, and how the pro-Bulgarian or Bulgarian people was treated just after the second war in Macedonia? What I mean, I can't see any problem yet. If there was some, let's say, very harsh pro-Serbian political orientation with the purpose to alienate Bulgarians in Macedonia, yes, it's true. The story of Venko Markovski, why not to discover what happened really with Venko Markovski, having in mind that he was a prominent person in the ASNO movement and the liberation of Macedonia. I mean, it's a figure. It's a personality which has a part in our history. What happened with that? Why he left? Why he left Skopje and he went to Sofia in 47, or I don't know, or some other prominent figures from the liberation communist movement who also finished tragically there after the second war. I mean, those are the issues that we could feel free to discuss openly, and to see what really happened. But still, I mean, there are few mantras in media which are absolutely oriented toward blaming Bulgarians and looking for some for me irrational points within a agreement that we have with Bulgaria and the European framework agreement, in order to blame Bulgarians, to blame Europe, and presenting or spreading the feelings of inferiority of Macedonia, and like nobody likes us, nobody loves us. They are against our culture. They are against our identity. It's a kind of a very weird, process that's ongoing in our society. Is for me, it's a kind of a twilight zone, and we can discuss further about. I mean, what's the problem? Why we are avoiding the very facts that exist in within these relations with Bulgaria and European Union?
Thank you, Borjan. Vesna?
To comment this, not particularly Borjan or Meshka discussion, I will say that in this very moment we have only one conspiracy in Macedonia. It's conspiracy not to discuss really document and what is writing in a document in front of us. And there is a level of lack of knowledge which is scandalous for a country. I mean, not just for a government, for the media also. We do not read the document, and we do not ask international lawyers what that particularly fucking articles means. For example, even in this discussion, we have this kind of a confusion on a table, and we cannot go out of that. For example, we have main agreement, which I mentioned. These two issues are embodied in Macedonia-Bulgaria relations, which means entering them in a preamble of constitution and having clean approach to our language. That is a main agreement, and there is two protocols. Protocols are not same level of the agreement. Nobody knows that. Nobody say that. We do not discuss that, even now.
No, we say that.
No, protocol is not. If you say that, there is a consequence of it. For example, in the protocol, you have 5 or 6 issues which are probably important. History, work of history commission, hate speech issue, files of communism, monuments, both history sharing, role of Bulgarian government during the Second World War, and so on and so forth. The both sides could deliver unsatisfactory reports to the commission during negotiation. But that unsatisfactory reports, dear Mechka, is not basis for a new veto, for God's sake. Understand that.
Yes.
There is no level. And everybody of European Union answer that. And that's why European Union leaders do not understand our leaders. They treat them miserably because this lack of knowledge, elementary lack of knowledge.
It's not lack of knowledge.
No,
It's mistrust. No. It's mistrust, and it's not having trust in the Bulgarian politics.
Whatever, that is lack of knowledge about document. You enter various things on the table, which is not part of a document. Understand, discussion.
We have discussed this topic multiple times on the media, and I do agree with you that there is a widespread lack of knowledge about the protocol, about the framework agreement, about the framework for EU accession. The thing is, the Bulgarian official politics is leveraging the framework with the protocols. It's leveraging its veto power with the protocols.
Okay.
Yes.
Leave me just. We are not in a position now. We do not want, and we will not do that. Analyze Bulgarian political scene. We are not interested in that. That is different issue. We are not interested in that. What we are interested in that to see that Bulgarian political position change dramatically, unexpectedly for our point of view, 180%. From we are one nation in the two states to the we are minority in your constitution and with the majority different nation, Macedonian nation. That is dramatic change. Bulgarian changed that, not we. We are sitting on the same table with the same political position. Bulgarians do that. And you do not see that. That is a historical shift. How they do that? Who pressed them to do that? It's not matter. What Karachanov will say, what in Kafana in Bulgaria will say about that. It's not our issue. We have document on the table. Document is a legal act. You could do that something coming from document, or you cannot. Bulgarians cannot do another veto from the protocols. They could do only negative reports. Understand, for God's sake, that don't be stupid and don't lose our time discussing here. I mean, they will do that veto. What they will say, aha, there is conspiracy. There is document, for God's sake, you read that. They cannot do that. But government have no interest to debate that. And that is political issue. Yes, that is political issue. Nobody from their side, let's say, okay, discuss the legal consequence of the protocol. Please do that. And we will start from this side. They will give their lawyers, and we will discuss about that. No discussion. That is covered with that is our propaganda, main propaganda. After that, we are not satisfied with how Bulgarians see their role in Second World War. Okay, we will make reports about that. They are not satisfied how the historical commission will work. They will make negative reports about that. But that reports will not be basis for a next veto. Understand that. And don't lose our time for doing that. I mean, this discussion here is never done in legal level in Macedonia. Believe me, never. I never discuss who is a lawyer who will discuss that. What is the consequence of protocols? I'm sorry for being a little bit more excessive.
So when Mitovski says that we need guarantees that there will be no other veto, he is just imagining that. He is just.
But imagine what Mechka said. Imagine that every new unsatisfactory debate on the protocol basis will be new veto, and that is not legal.
Not necessarily the discussion in the institutions of the protocol, but because of the discussions from the institutions from the protocol, Bulgaria will have a possibility or a leverage to impose a veto on a different question that arises from the EU accession talks, not necessarily from the institutions from the protocols. As far as I know, there is no political party in Macedonia that is against constitutional changes, at least declaration. But we do not have political will to do that, and that lack of political will to do so is part of the national domestic propaganda and political battle. It's pure populism. Who is defending the nation? Who is defending the language? Who is defending the history? We saw that in Macedonia. We saw that in Bulgaria. It was one of the top 3 questions during the elections in Bulgaria. It was number 1 question during the elections in Macedonia. So it is misused, it's propagandized, it is used for short-term gains for the political parties. And we need to overcome that by building trust between Macedonian politicians and Bulgarian politicians. And we are not adding to that. We are not adding if we are just simply trying to cover up the things that are being a problem. We had 3 days ago, we had a Bulgarian podcaster, influencer, / president of a Macedonian Bulgarian foundation in Macedonia. It's called Fondacija Makedonia. His name is Viktor Stoyanov. He was very vocal 3 days ago, exposing people that were being paid for by the Bulgarian politicians, by the Bulgarian political actors, to be active in Macedonian media, to spread Bulgarian truths, to spread Bulgarian narrative in Macedonia. He exposed them because he was the link, he was the funnel through which those Bulgarian money were being funneled into Macedonian influences. And that is a reality that we must see before we solve our problems. It is not simply a fact of, yes, we have the legal document, but we both know that there is no pressure point, there is no legal consequence for not implementing the agreement in its fullest form.
Can I ask you a question? If it's open for discussion. Okay, Professor Frčkoski insisted that all derives from the document, right? And I think that you insist, and I wrongly agreed with you that the protocol is mentioned in the framework. Frčkoski is right, the protocols are not mentioned in the framework. It's a very short stipulation, and I was correct about the number. It's number 4. Regional cooperation and good neighborly relations remain essential elements of the enlargement process. North Macedonia should continue to constructively engage in inclusive regional cooperation and strengthen relations with neighboring countries. Today, we recall the importance of achieving tangible results, and implement in good faith both bilateral agreements, Prespa agreement with Greece and the treaty on good neighborly relations with Bulgaria. This is the second time that the word Bulgaria, and the only time, is mentioned in the document. The other time is that EU took note of Bulgaria's reaction to the language, but they moved on. So these are the only 2 mentions. So it does not. Just to conclude, it cannot be your caution cannot be derived from the document. Maybe from elsewhere.
No.
Yeah.
Let me correct you. I didn't say that the protocols are part of the
Mhm.
framework. I said that the two neighborly agreements are a part of the protocol of the framework, not the protocols. Protocols are a different
Mhm.
topic.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was referring to the treaties. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay, Borjan.
Well, I mean, I still, insist on that the media are, as a professional, if they're professional, their mission, their imperative should be to, to present to the public opinion the facts, not, the misinterpretation, confusion. And that's why we have a public opinion which is, completely confused by what's going on with this relation with Bulgaria and with European Union again. So we are missing we are debating, we are wasting time on some issues which are completely out of mind. I don't know, it's in a very irrational way, for example, we need a guarantee that there will be no other blockade during through our path towards European Union. Well, who knows? I mean, there will be not maybe historical question. There will be maybe some ecological or some agriculture or some in some other topics. It's just as for the other negotiating countries. By the way, when we are saying it's not by the Copenhagen criteria what Bulgarian is asking. The good neighboring relations are very part of Copenhagen criteria. When if you follow closely the negotiating process between Croatia and between Montenegro and European Union, you will see that Croatian, they have some issues with historical issues with Montenegro. So, but they're discussing. We are not following that. They have an open discussion about issues which are related to the wars in ex-Yugoslavia in the beginning of 90s. But those are issues which are sensitive. But both societies, both governments are very much engaged in order to resolve these questions, So it's a part of history. It could be also part of the good neighboring relations, which are part of the Copenhagen criteria. I mean, our public opinion deserves to be aware of what's up the European integration processes. And again, I mean, talking about the protocols, yes, the commissioner has a duty to inform the intergovernmental conference once per year about the state of the work of the Joint History Commission. That's it. It means that the Council of Ministers is not going to vote on this report. So it's not something that they will vote and then Bulgaria will put the veto. No, it's not stipulated like this in the European framework negotiation framework. So there are plenty of this misinformation all around the processes that are making our public opinion confused, and of course opposing any step forward or to accept the Bulgarian in the constitution in order to continue properly the negotiation process for membership with the European Union. And that's the role of the media, and we should discuss much more about what's going on, what's behind, whether the media are instructed to do so again, I will say, I don't believe partly maybe yes, but partly it's a kind of inertia, and lack of the professionalism. So that's the main reason why we have a public opinion which is so angry on the demands of the European Union. And by the way, we are using this phrase Bulgarian veto. There is no Bulgarian veto. There is a European framework agreement. That's it. I mean, it's not. It should be changed in Brussels, in European Union, in order to move forward. It's not a Bulgarian veto. So I don't know what to say, but again, the main reason behind this antagonism that we feel, and the frustration that the society is feeling is due to the lack of the professionalism of the media that cover in general those issues.
Thank you, Borjan. Before I open the floor, that what Professor Frčkoski told us today, this is the second time I was very careful listening to you. You're constantly telling that, and nobody catches that. The first time I noticed that was when Professor Frčkoski was a guest at Politikant. Those were his words. This is the agreement. This is the protocol. This is the 180 degrees. This is the beautiful situation. There is an open goal. Just take the shot. But the problem is that I don't know how to avoid. I'm just picking up on Borjan's side. How to avoid telling people that people, this is this. There is no way that all media sector is so clueless.
It's not the media sector that is clueless, it's the media sector that is corrupt in general.
Okay, but in general,
that will be true. I would agree with Borjan and his discussion on the media. It is a corrupted media sector in general. It is a media sector that is being influenced by the political parties and by the political narratives by inertia. It is not like a controlled media sector. They just know who is in power. They should pick up on their narratives and continue the narrative. They are not completely clueless about what's the framework, about what are the protocols, what are the agreements, what are the treaties on good neighborly relations. They do know that. There are people that know that. But they are choosing not to discuss on it. They are choosing on picking up the narratives that are coming from Bulgaria, that are coming from the officials in Macedonia. They're trying to satisfy the needs of the party politics in Macedonia.
No, okay, but I'm not seeing what is Macedonia losing. Not going on. What is gaining with those narratives?
No, it's Macedonia. Macedonia is not gaining. The political party in power is gaining. Better rating. Yes.
The motives are petty.
Yeah, they are petty motives. It's not a statecrafting motive. It's a petty motive. No, it's keeping the power, keeping the political party in power. That's all there is to it. There are no complications in the logic of the media.
Maybe that is something that we are all, not only us, but also all the diplomats are wondering what we are doing.
That's why I brought up the discussion. That's why I brought up the discussion about the protocols and the neighborhood and the treaties and the framework. This is why.
Yeah, let's open the floor. Does anybody have any questions for the panelists?
Like to say something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with Alexander and with Borjan that we have a journalism problem here in the country. And we've been having it for a long time, and I don't have a solution for that problem, and it seems nobody has. I don't know, we know the issues. I mean, there was this a statement on the best-known news aggregator Time Macabre, where they say that 80% of the news they aggregate are actually copies of something that has already been published. Then it's not only that we have a journalism problem, we also have an audience problem. The audience is in our country is very small, which means that market-based journalism and market-based media, it's almost impossible, you know, to create something like that because there is no market and there's so much news production. I mean, today if you get all the news in the online media, there is one piece of news for every 20 members of the potential audience. So there's so much news being produced, but we see that 80% of that is copied and everything is decentralized. Like if you have 200 websites that we have now, and you have like 150 of them are bad. But since there are so many of them, even if they take small percentage of the audience, like, I don't know, 0.5%, since there are 100 or 150 of them, they take big percentage of the available audience. And I don't know, and then, for example, if you publish something in Albania, you have a potential audience in Kosovo and in Albania. In Macedonian, we don't have that. And it's much more expensive to do an investigation than just to republish news. And for example, the investigative outlets. So we have a couple of websites that publish investigative stories, and they have this problem. So they are preparing their investigation, but in the meantime, they don't have anything to publish. And you have like 1 week or 2 weeks, you don't publish anything, or maybe you publish something small. And websites and internet in the age of social media don't work like that. You have to have new material all the time to build that audience. And that is because the journalism now is financed by the centers of power that, you know, that just keep them as a reserve. Like even if you have a professional media, but if it's financed by the center of power, and even if they are professional and respect the code and publish the truth, but that all ends in that moment when their boss, when their master, when the person that gives the money has been attacked in the public discourse. And then they start to retaliate, and all the code and the professional standards go out of the window. So it's a tough problem. It's a tough problem, especially in a country like this. So what I've been looking, so we have the third smallest language in the country, the language market. I mean, I'm not counting those micro languages, from what I've seen, only the Estonian and Maltesian language are spoken by less people than Macedonian. But the thing is that Estonia and Malta are much richer than Macedonia. And there's so much stuff that the journalism is missing. Like now we see an offensive of the director of the customs. How are they doing? Great job. They're bringing so much more money from custom fees. On the other hand, for months and months of on end, packages arriving from abroad are being held by the customs for a month, 2 months, some even 3 months. Businessmen requiring those packages from abroad are losing a lot of money. I know a guy who needed samples of those tiles for toilets and for kitchens, and he ordered samples from the supplier abroad so that he can show to the possible customer. He couldn't get the tiles, and he lost a deal worth tens of thousands of euros. I know people who bring stuff from abroad, electrical appliances, to fix them and then bring them back. They cannot get those appliances to fix them because they are stuck in the customs, and nobody reports about that. Just last week, a psychiatrist told me that our main psychiatric hospital, Bardovci, is not receiving any new patients. I couldn't get the details about that. I don't know what that's about. But this person is a psychiatrist in the psychiatric clinic. So, and there's so much stuff that's actually not being reported at all, and that is pretty bad. So I'm not sure that the public is, misinformed or badly informed or uninformed when it comes to this issue, and unfortunately, it will stay like that until we come up with some kind of formula to fix the journalism. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody? Yes.
Someone else. It will remain just among themselves if it continue. I'm afraid we'll be turning in circles. Is there going to be another little or not? Let's think about it.
First of all,
Delighted.
first of all, I just again want to pick up something that Borjan said, that the Bulgarians doesn't have exclusive rights on the veto.
Yeah.
So I think that while we are debating with ourselves, maybe it's not a bad idea to work on our reforms.
It's the best idea to work
On the reforms, yeah.
It's the best idea to work on the obvious problem. I think Macedonia has a problem. You brought up a good point. Macedonia has a problem with the audience. It's an audience problem, and I think the solution is in better education. It's not a magic wand solution. It's a solution that needs better education, better. There is a lack of true information in all levels of the country, in all levels of institutions. So that's the problem Macedonia faces.
Just for an illustration, if I may, I'm still impressed by my own discovery. I found out that Mr. Vasil Jovanovski in 1933 wrote an article in some international newspaper with the title "Why Macedonians has to have their own state," something like this, to be independent or whatsoever. Then this very pro-Macedonian guy was a part of the liberation movement before the war, during the war, very active, and then he became the editor-in-chief of Nova Macedonia. We are so proud of Nova Macedonia because it's a very first newspaper published in Macedonian language, etc., etc. So it's I'm talking about the pillars, about the foundation of the Macedonian identity. And then this Vasil Jovanovski, who was not, by the way, pro-Bulgarian, at some point in 47, just asked, he was a bit shocked by the attitude of the process of the Serbian, mentors that came in Macedonia after the war, Brankovic and Bobby Milosavljevic. And he was like asking, well, what you are doing, it's not what we have planned before the liberation, So meaning being so harsh, so rude toward everybody who has whatsoever related with Bulgaria. And it's obvious, and it's not, it's very expected. It was very expected that there are many Bulgarians in Macedonia at that time, having in mind the previous, circumstances. However, my point is that we don't have any information. Vasil Jovanovski is not mentioned once in any of the history books. Not once even in a newspaper, Nova Macedonia, which so he was his first editor-in-chief, never published an article about him. By the way, Nova Macedonia is now the media that intoxicate public opinion regularly. That's their I think it's a proper pro-Russian instruction and pro-Serbian instruction in this outlet. However, we are missing some very important details which are relevant for our history. We need them. It's and by the way, somebody mentioned the media and how they perform and the conditions for their performance. It's not a huge investigative and act if you go to ask someone to whom belonged the house in Kruševo where the manifest was proclaimed. You will now see that in this house the manifest of Kruševo Republic was promote. Okay. But then you will not understand to whom this house belong. And it's hidden because this guy, the owner of this house, was Bulgarian. And after the insurgents in Kruševo, he left it. He went to Sofia as Bulgarian. So he was Bulgarian. But it should be a problem that he was Bulgarian and he was a part of the Ilinden movement. No, so it's not about the investigative journalism to ask who is the owner and why he is not mentioned in his own house. Those are the very strange things that are happening around and that are, even me, I'm confused,
Thank you, Borjan. Katrina? Oh, no.
Talking too much.
Okay. Okay. If somebody in the Zoom room has some comments. Okay. Okay. I want to thank our panelists for this discussion and thank our guests online and in person. This concludes the panel session, and we are continuing tomorrow with the work sessions, yes, that are close, and see you all tomorrow for the keynote of Michael Witt. Tomorrow, yeah, morning. No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.